p.m. in East Africa. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great,
It's
great.
dark.
Yeah. Well, we can see you're a little fuzzy, but we can tell who we've got here. We have got Julie Church in the black there, and who is the
Hi. Oops.
founder of Seas4Life. And then we have Kat, who I failed to ask your last name. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Cushioning. It's hard to pronounce. It's like pillow, but cushioning.
Okay, all right, okay. So anyway, sorry, I got a little distracted for a moment though because I've got these messages about others ready to join the broadcast, so I am putting
Ooh.
them in as well. Laura Williams. Do we know Laura?
Yeah, we do know Laura.
Okay, all
Hey.
right, good. I was like,
Yeah.
the only problem. Okay, I'm gonna change the
Which
screen
is
here a bit
hold
so that
on.
I can get everybody's faces on. Let's try that. Although
Oh,
she's
oh, okay.
looks
That's
like,
better. Oh, we
so
can
yeah,
relax.
yeah, okay. Well, I don't know. Laura's not showing up for some reason, but let's
Oh, we can
see.
see
And
her.
then you can. Great. I'm just getting a
Yeah.
blank screen. So good. Okay.
Oh,
And then we have James as well. And
I know we can do this.
okay.
I think we're fine like
Now
that.
okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
let's go back to where we were before then. And I'm actually gonna hide Laura for a minute so we can go back to that. Okay. So
Okay.
back to business. So we have Julie Church, who we just introduced, and Kat, who is the shark expert, which we will get to talking about sharks later. I'm intrigued by that, I must say, because I'm not a big fan of sharks. But
Yet.
uh, so first and foremost, like as I said, I'm so excited about this. I just find this idea of being able to safari on land and sea fascinating, and I love, Julie, the reason that you are doing this. That you have conservation in mind and education, and all of that wrapped into an experiential experiential experience. That's
Yeah.
a little redundant, but um, at any rate, so explain to the audience how Seas4Life came to be, and a little bit about your history and how you got there.
Okay. Well, I think I've just had a passion for the ocean, and so my background is in marine conservation. I worked on the border of Kenya and Somalia for a while, doing working for WWF and the Kenya Wildlife Service. I set up then after that I set up a flip-flop recycling company called Ocean Soul, which is still going, and that again was aiming to get people connected to the ocean in one way or another, and that was through recycling flip-flops on the beach and getting them out to the general public and making people aware of marine debris. And then after that, I've done some consultancies, and then it sort of seemed to merge to do safaris. And Seas4Life is really about experiential conservation travel at sea to create a blue planet consciousness amongst people, amongst the world, because we are a blue planet. And I think we can do that. We can create this through adventure, through inspiration, through fun. And that's really the reason Seas4Life has come into being.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I did that by mistake. Okay, excuse me. I was trying to find the thing about the flip flops, and the music started. So go ahead, please.
Oh, shall I start again?
Not all over. No, you don't need to start all over. I was trying to find the thing about Ocean Soul to share, and when I did, this music started playing over top of you talking. So just the last little bit. So
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, with a background of marine conservation, with a family in safaris, with a passion for the ocean, and with a sort of need to inspire people about our blue planet, I created Seas4Life, and it's really about experiential conservation travel at sea and in our wilderness to create a blue planet consciousness amongst people, our visitors, and doing that on adventure, having fun, out in the blue wilderness rather than just
Yeah.
the green wilderness.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I think that, Kat, before we move on to you here, I want to just show a couple of these pictures because they're just so fabulous. I'm going to hide my screen while I do this. And Julie, why don't you just say a little bit as I scroll through the pictures about them? Because talking about the blue planet, the other day, something that struck me was you said that, the planet is 70% water, correct? That's what you told
Yeah,
me. I
yeah,
mean, I think I knew that, but I don't know, for whatever reason that really hit me when we talked about that the other day. I thought, gosh, that is just massive. It's really, and
yeah,
it's so important. It's so important.
yeah,
So, okay. So I'll
yeah.
show a couple of these fabulous pictures with all this blue water and you can say where they are and so forth. All right. So I'm going to hide my,
Okay.
It's like a quiz.
This is Mafia in Tanzania. Um, yeah, it's with mangroves and it's just the color of the water. And we do safaris there. We do mixture of safaris on the catamaran. And Mafia is really known for the whale sharks between October and April. It's also Tanzania's first marine protected area. And it's very diverse marine life in Chole Bay. And in the bay, you can dive throughout the year because it's really protected. Obviously, a sea turtle. They're very threatened threatened in the ocean. And actually, we get quite a number of sea turtles on our dives, and then we get sea turtles nesting in this region, normally between March and September, but sometimes they start earlier. And yeah, we can often show people the sea turtles when they're nesting, and we work with the communities. A lot of the organizations work with communities on that. Again, this is Fanjovi Island. This is in the southern Tanzania, just south of Mafia. Again, it's fantastic. There's a kite surfer there. So on our trips, you can do a whole mixture of things. And there's also, a historical site on the island that we often visit. So we try and mix culture, marine life as well all together. This is snorkeling in Chole Bay. The water there is fantastic. It's really clear. It's really beautiful. And as I said, the sea life in there is incredibly rich and diverse. Again, that's Mafia, diving off one of the local boats and enjoying the clean, clear, beautiful water of Tanzania. And again, Tanzania is very rich. This is one of the islands, I think, where you'll come when you're traveling from Zanzibar. You pass an island called Latham Island, which is, it's not in that picture, but it's known for its nesting site for birds. It's also a high nesting site for turtles. But on our way south, you'll pass different islands like this on the way to Mafia Island in Tanzania. Yeah, this is diving in a beautiful, beautiful coral reef. This could be Mafia. I'm actually not entirely sure where that is, but it just gives the richness of it.
yeah. Oh gosh, it just looks, I mean, the color of the water, it's just amazing to me.
Yeah.
So what is it, a year round? Is it a good site, to go for diving and things, or are there certain seasons like the rest? I know there's certain seasons that are rainy, so there's probably times that aren't so good to go. When would you want to go?
But I think what we've done in Seas4Life is we've created a safari for every season in every region. So say if we start from the Red Sea, where we dive was in Sudan because it's fabulous clear waters. It's where Jacques Cousteau did his research in the 60s.
Oh
And the
wow.
season there really starts from September through to June, because then it gets too warm. And it's a fabulous place to dive with hammerhead sharks. And just the diversity there is fabulous. When you come down to Kenya and Tanzania, it's I mean, the best season really is now October to April. You see
Okay.
the whale sharks, you got, calmer waters, great for snorkeling and diving. But from June to September is when you get the humpback whales migrating through and the sea turtles nesting.
Yeah.
So, there's always something for different season. And then when you go down to South Africa, where we do the sardine run, that's really between end of May, June, and early July.
Okay.
And that's a real expedition. And then the Seychelles has got 2 different seasons as well. So on our trips, we can make it fit.
Yeah.
Every month has you can go to a different place and experience something really different.
Oh, that's amazing. I've only one time had an experience with whales, in the wild. We were in Australia and we were going out to the reef, the Great Barrier Reef, and there were whales as we were going out there. It was amazing to see. It's just something that you can't, understand unless you experience it for yourself, for sure. But on that note, I'm gonna hide both of our screens for a second and see if I can show this little bit of Kat's um, Instagram that we were talking about, that because we're going to talk to her. Now it's disappeared on me. Is a drone pilot as well. And I know my husband will be really interested to hear about that, because he's just gotten a drone and he's been playing with it. And so, but I want to let you, because I can't get that to show right now. I'll see if I can while we're talking here a bit, but I'm going to go back to this and see if I can find the bit about the whale sharks and let you talk about sharks, since that is your expertise, for a minute. And tell me first, though, the other day you said 17 different countries you had been to diving and with sharks, like not just whale sharks, but
Um,
sharks, like sharks with teeth, sharks.
Most sharks have teeth. Yes, all the ones I've seen
Okay.
so far have all had teeth.
Okay.
Even whale sharks have 3,000 teeth. They just don't use them for
Oh,
biting.
well, I had no idea.
Yeah, no, so I've worked in 17 different countries, working not always with sharks, sometimes with corals and sometimes with whales. But yeah, I just really enjoy working in conservation and tourism. My background is in marine biology, and I specified into sharks fairly quickly from working with whale sharks, actually. The first time I worked with them was in the Philippines. And I just think they're absolutely beautiful. And a lot of people tend to be scared of sharks, and I feel like whale sharks are a really good introductory species, if that makes sense, for someone to first swim with sharks and realize they're not all the same, and there is, the media's a little bit against them, and they're gentle giants, and then you slowly become more comfortable and then end up diving with great whites. But yeah, just
Not me. You might end up diving with great whites, but I won't be doing that.
one day we'll ease you into it. We'll start with whale
Yeah.
sharks and we'll go blue sharks, bill sharks. But yeah, no, so I've worked in quite a few different countries doing a lot of different research, usually tagging and photo ID.
Okay.
And actually one of the best places in the world for research there is Mafia Island, which I've not been to, so I'm really excited about coming into this project because my idol, Simon J. Pierce, he works there, so one day we're going to be best friends. It's going to be great.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I work with drones quite a lot.
Great. Oh gosh. Well, I'm going to show these pictures and I'm going to hide myself again and let you just talk a bit about it, because they're so impressive. Now, and forgive me, because some of these pictures that are going to pop up may be of other things. I could only save 10 in a set and I may not have saved
Okay.
them in the proper order. So Julie, you may have to jump in
Okay.
if it's something that is not
Okay.
shark
No
related.
problem.
So, okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, that obviously is up Kat's alley right here.
Yes, I think that's your photo, but that's a whale shark. Yeah, they can grow up to 14 meters, maybe 18, but 14's been the longest recorded length. And they are gentle giants. You can kind of just about see they've got tiny teeth. They've got 3,000 teeth, as I said before. They only eat plankton. Their throats are 10 centimeters in diameter, so even if they wanted to eat you, they couldn't. I promise. Someone would have to put you in a blender first, and then you should be more scared of the person who put you in the blender than of the shark. But yeah, that's a whale shark. That's Mafia Island, isn't it?
That's Mafia.
Mm-hmm. That's a football.
No, I think that might be an Aldabra tortoise. This is I don't know.
That's
just...
I downloaded that earlier. That's one of the advertising photos for Lamu, I think.
No, it would be Mafia.
Let's see. If I am...
Oh, that's the ruins. That's Kilwa.
Kisiwani,
which is in Tanzania, and it's actually where it was Persian in origin and very, very wealthy and rich in the medieval times. And it's in this location that the Swahili culture and the Swahili language, it's the origins. And it's really a beautiful, beautiful island. Not many people get there. We're actually going there on a trip in December.
Okay. Oh, wow. Is this the same place?
Yeah, that's the same place. It was a city. It was phenomenal. Absolutely amazing.
And say again where this is and how you would get there, because you said not many people get there. So what would be your
on this trip? This would be we'd fly into one of the options is you fly into Mafia Island in Tanzania, and then we do a trip around the sort of southwestern side. We do a trip into Chole Bay, and then we'll go down the southern archipelago to Nuni Island, and then Fanjovi, and then we cut right down to the furthest sort of island, which is just close to the mainland, which is Kilwa Kisiwani. It's a 7-day trip, and then you can fly out 8-day trip, 7-night trip, and then you fly out from Kilwa Masoki, which is on the mainland.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that sounds fabulous.
You can also just fly into Kilwa Masoki and come up the other way. En route, it's fantastic because you'll see lots of dolphin, and lots of whales and stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is obviously somebody, and I'm sorry because it's hard. I think when I'm not on the screen, it's not easy for you to hear me. And so now the pictures are a little smaller than I want them to be, but this is obviously somebody on his little dhow, I guess it is it or not?
Yeah, this is a local fishing boat. I think it's an Ngalawa.
Okay.
It's a local Ngalawa, and it would be a fisherman going out up and down the creeks, And these guys will, when they're like this, they're fishing quite sustainably. They'll be fishing with either a line or with a net, which is called a maema, and it's locally made, and it's quite targeted fishing. It's quite selective, unlike nets, which are really unselective.
Right.
Yeah, it's very, very good, and you often get the older men practicing that.
Again.
Yeah.
All right, let me go switch to this one here. Wait a minute, let me take this guy away. And
that's kite surfing.
Yeah, that looks amazing. And I'm sorry, Kat, we will come back to sharks, I promise. This is just, I need to do a better job of organizing the photos in the future. So yeah, but yeah, so that looks pretty spectacular. So, it looks to me like you could do any number of things, from sit on the beach to diving to snorkeling to riding in the boat to, exploring to kite surfing. I mean, it doesn't look like you'd run out of things to do.
No, there's not. That you don't run out of things to do, actually. And I often use the analogy of our safaris is like a lot of people go to the beach and they'll stay in a hotel or they'll walk on the beach and maybe swim in the sea, maybe, but not really get their head under and not really understand what's going on. Right. And for me, it's like you go to the Masai Mara or the Serengeti and you sit at the hotel near the swimming pool, just looking out to that wilderness. So what we're trying to create is a culture where you actually get out in and on to the blue wilderness, and you get to know, as you're doing it, you'll get to know, all the various species, whether it's from a tiny little hermit crab to the symbiotic relationship of a clownfish and a sea anemone, to various species of dolphins, often hunting, to whales or whale sharks, or even sharks. Depends on which safaris one chooses and how lucky you are on your trips.
Absolutely. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I've got a question. So my friend Melissa is watching, and she's a very dear friend of mine, and she is into conservation big time. Water. She does a lot of testing of water and stuff. I'm doing a terrible job of explaining what she does because she's got a master's degree and she's uber smart, and I'm making her sound like she runs around testing water. But anyway, this is right up her alley. So she's asking, is there a conservation service aspect to the Seas4Life trips?
Yeah, very much so. So throughout a couple of things, throughout every one of our trips, we're offsetting our trips with, you know, carbon offsetting, and we're trying to find and identify the organization that we can offset that carbon into protecting our seagrass beds, our mangroves, our coral reefs, because the ocean is the biggest carbon sink. So a lot of these offsetting carbon groups offset it like in some sustainable biomass charcoal thing in Tanzania. And I'm like, well, why are we doing that when we've got seagrass beds that we need to protect, which have not really been fully understood and valued? So yeah, so key to us is offsetting each trip. And we can do that from the beginning. So people arriving, you know, coming off from New York, their whole safari we can offset. There's various calculators and stuff. We're just trying to work out how we do it for marine protected areas. The other is that we give back. We have a Seas4Life trust, and the trust is very focused on expanding, supporting local marine conservation areas here in East Africa. Say in Kenya, our coastline is 600 kilometers long. We've got 5 national marine protected areas.
Oh, wow.
And it doesn't really cover 10% of our coastline. And in between that, we've got communities that are working to protect their little area. But the challenge is always financing. So
Yeah.
if we can really support that, that would be fantastic. And when we're working in there, you're working with the community, supporting education programs. We're doing beach cleanup programs. We monitor fish. We've got a project that we're going to start in actually assessing, working with the fishermen to assess the number of sharks caught, sharks released, how many sharks are sighted, because even with the local fishermen, you know, sharks is like high on the agenda to kill, whether just for meat, whether it's dried and sold within the local market, or whether the fin is sold to the Asian market.
Yeah.
So yeah, within that we've got lots of and education is absolutely key to us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so each safari that we do, we also put a small amount towards the trust.
Yeah, and I love that about everything that I experienced anyway in Kenya, was that there was so much giving back, whether it's in the conservancy.
We've lost you. We can't hear you.
Oh, well, just like last time.
No, we've lost you.
Okay, hang on. Okay, so
we can't hear you.
Okay,
she can see that we can't hear.
Oh.
Okay, all right, yeah, just a second. So I'm for the people, just 1 second. For the people that are watching, I am typing a message to them, and sorry, I can't talk and type at the same time. So hopefully you can see that. Can you see the message? Did you read the message? No, nothing. The message on the typing. No.
We could see what you wrote.
Great. Okay. Perfect. That's what.
We can see you writing. So, we just can't hear you speaking.
Okay. So all right, that's fine. I can talk a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna about whale sharks and how docile they are. Okay. Let's see if she can get that.
Okay, I've been instructed to talk about whale sharks, which is good because that's my absolute favorite thing to talk about in the world.
Good.
Yeah, so you can swim with them here in Mafia Island. You can get them along
In
the coast
Kenya?
of Kenya.
Absolutely. In
It's
Watamu, they've
yeah, yeah,
sighted
yeah,
some very early as well.
yeah. So
And also off Diani, Chale
Mhm,
Point.
mhm.
So they're places in Kenya. They're very interesting. They have certain sort of areas that they
Yeah.
come where it's really good for them feeding.
Yeah, so whale sharks, as I said earlier, they feed on plankton. So they're the biggest fish in the ocean, not the biggest animal, but the biggest fish. And yet they feed on the smallest animal in the
Creatures.
ocean, which is plankton, all kinds. And they are also one of the most widespread sharks. You can find them in pretty much anywhere that it's warm. You can find a whale shark, and they migrate. And it's strange because they're so giant, but there's so little known about them. Because they go, well, we assume that they dive super deep to mate and to give birth and to do all of these things. So we know nothing really about their life cycle. There was a whale shark in 2016 or 17, and it was a newborn, and it was 30 centimeters. So absolutely teeny tiny.
Wow.
Absolutely gorgeous. And they're born, well, this one was born full spots. So honestly, it was like someone had made a small sculpture of a whale. That was actually what we thought at first, because we got sent this video and we were like, that has to be fake. Like no whale shark really looks like that, but they're beautiful. And yeah, the longest recorded length ever was 14 meters, but it's sort of speculated that they can get to 18. And they're just absolutely gorgeous. And their spots, you can kind of see it on this photo. They've got spots along the side. This is actually used as a fingerprint. So around the world, there's wildbook.org is I personally think the best one, because that's the one I've worked with. And you take a photo of the left side just behind the fin. So if this whale shark was to turn a little bit, he'd be in perfect position. And yeah, you take a photo of the side, and it's essentially you spot the difference with all the sharks around the world, and you can tell where they've been seen before. And I get emails all the time of like my sharks. I worked in Ningaloo Reef, which is in Western Australia, for a while, and probably every month or so, maybe a little bit less often, I get emails, your shark's been spotted again, your shark's been spotted again.
That's so cool.
Yeah, you can tell
So
that they're a
cool.
really healthy population. What has been your most memorable experience with a shark of any kind? Probably there's two experiences. One is my first time seeing a tiger shark, simply because
It's scary.
they're not scary. No, sharks are scary. Sharks are not scary. It's just, they're just so beautiful. They're just stripy and they're gorgeous. And because they know how big they are, they're not, you get some smaller sharks that are skittish, and they'll come over and inspect and be a little bit aggressive because they're scared of you. Whereas tiger sharks do not care. They're not worried. They'll just come and be like, and swim off again, and it's absolutely incredible. And then my other memorable experience was I was spearfishing off Perth in Western Australia, and we had a great white swim past us. Yeah, and we had all this fish on us. And we were like, drop the fish, get out of the water. But it was great. I was actually with like a few firemen, and it was like a movie moment, because I was there totally calm, like I could see she wasn't aggressive, and I was trying to check her gender. She was a girl, and they were all screaming and getting out of the water. So I won some cool points that day.
My gosh.
Yeah, those are my two most memorable experiences.
Okay.
And that's a humpback whale, who you also can ID those around the world. On the underside of it's called their fluke, but of their tail, it's like a fingerprint, and we do a lot of that stuff. Where I was just working in the Dominican Republic, a lot of the whales that we cite there have, or not a lot, but a fair amount, have also been sighted in Iceland. So it's really cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and because all the universities work together, and if you see a whale that gets spotted a lot, you send it to researchers and say, have you ever seen this guy before?
Yeah, and in our region, we're just sort of, there's a network, there's a Tanzania Marine Mammal Network and a Kenya Marine Mammal Network. And it's a citizen science thing. So anybody really seeing whales is reporting it in. And there's a young Kenyan researcher called Michael, who is based in Watamu in northern Kenya. And he's collecting all the data on the flukes and putting it together.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of research more recently started up in this area. So it's really great, because the migration of the humpbacks in this region start, they leave the Antarctic, they leave the cold waters around May. They come up via South Africa, via Mozambique, through Tanzania, up to Kenya, and actually just to our northern tip to Somalia, where the Somali upwelling comes, and then they go down. And they do this migration every year. And it's the time the mums are not feeding, but it's a breeding time.
Okay.
And it's the mums drop their babies, their calves, and then they're nursing them. And if
Okay.
I'm right, the calves have to put on they have to have 40 kilos of mum's milk a day.
Wow.
So that before they get back to the cold in the Antarctica, that they've got enough fat on them. And then
Yeah.
the mums and everybody feeds on lots and lots of krill before they start again on their migration. And weirdly enough, since the International Whale Commission stopped whaling in 1984, the humpback whale population has been a huge success. It's been fantastic. It's one of those success stories of the world at the moment, and it doesn't get told enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh. Wow. I guess you still can't hear me, right?
We can't hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's fine. No worries. No, it's fine. Okay. There
As
we
long
go.
as you can hear us.
Yeah.
This
No.
trip is
Everybody can hear
yeah,
you. Yeah. You're good there.
I've got it. This trip is what we call chimps, cichlids, and corals, and this is one of our extraordinary Africa ocean adventures, where you would start on Lake Tanganyika. My whole concept is trying to connect the waterways, the wilderness, and to the sea. So on this trip, you'd fly into Tanzania. You'd start off actually at Lupita Island. Then we'd go up, and Lupita, you can snorkel there and kayak there, and you can snorkel with the cichlids, which is amazing because there are 250 endemic species in Lake Tanganyika like that. And then you go up and you go to Mahali Mountains, which is run by Nomad Tanzania, and you have a phenomenal time with the chimps. And then you'll fly into the Selous, and you can enjoy the time there with the crocodiles and hippos and fish in the Selous, and it's fabulous. And then from the Selous, we'll fly you either to Zanzibar or to Mafia. So the whole concept there is really getting people connected to this region. There's, in my view, there is globally only one place in the world you can do chimps, cichlids, and corals. Oh, and a few crocs in between. We offer other trips like elephants, rhinos, and whales, because again, that's what Africa has to offer. So we're mixing the blue wilderness with the green wilderness.
Yeah.
We'll do giraffes, groupers, and gorillas, because again, really amazing trips. We'll go to Rwanda for the gorillas, and then giraffes in the savannas, and you can walk with them, go to Giraffe Manor, feed them, and then obviously meet some amazing huge groupers, which you find in Zanzibar and Mafia Island. So yeah, that's it. The elephants, rhinos, and whales. Yeah, that's the humpbacks. And this is great to do, obviously, during the humpback season. So from June, July, August, September. Yeah, and this is in, you get a lot of white rhinos and black rhinos in Solio. Yeah. So yeah, that's another one we offer. Yeah, the babies. And, if we've got people who are really keen, who more really want to know about the research of elephants and the conservation programs of elephants and rhinos or whales, we basically have the contacts in the network in the region to connect people to some of those scientists. And then all of this work is really giving back to Africa, giving back to these species, people visiting Africa are always, not always, but generally on these sort of types of safaris are very much giving back to a wider network of people, all the community around, because just by coming on safari, you're helping keep these wildernesses protected. whether it's in the sea or whether it's on land. So that's why we try and do these ocean Africa safaris,
Yeah.
because we can. It's the only place in the world that we can do that. Yeah.
It is amazing. I wish you could hear me. I just typed you a note. Everybody else can hear both of us, but I am going to close now. This has been fabulous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll do it again. Then be able to hear each other the whole time. So thank you both very, very much.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Great.
All right.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so
Okay.
much.
Bye bye.
Bye.